Excellencies, distinguished delegates, good morning and welcome to the final day of the 81st Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. This session will commence shortly. Please kindly take your seats. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the session will commence shortly. Kindly please take your seats. Thank you.
Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, the meeting is called to order. Let us start with the consideration of Agenda Item 6, Management Issues. The document is pertinent to this item are ESCAP/81/23 on the proposed program plan for 2026, ESCAP/81/24 on the overview of partnerships, extra budgetary contributions, and capacity development, ESCAP/81/25 on the evaluation of the Asian and Pacific Center for the Development of Disaster Information Management, ESCAP 8126 on the evaluation of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization, and ESCAP 8127 on the evaluation of the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific. May I, at the outset, invite the Executive Secretary, Ms. Armida Salcia Alice Jhabana, to introduce this agenda item.
Honorable Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, allow me to say a few words about each of the documents you are considering today. The proposed program plan for 2026, document ESCAP/81/23, contains the overall orientation of the program of ESCAP and the proposed program of work of the 9 ESCAP sub-programs. It outlines how the Secretariat will support Member States in 2026 to leverage regional cooperation to advance the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific. The proposed program plan for 2026 has been developed in line with General Assembly resolutions on program planning, and an early draft was shared with the Advisory Committee of Permanent Representatives and other representatives designated by members of the Commission. After consideration by the Commission, the plan will be further reviewed by the Committee for Program and Coordination, or CPC, and considered by the 5th Committee of the General Assembly as part of the Secretary General's overall proposed program budget for 2026. The Secretariat seeks your endorsement of the proposed program plan for 2026, and I count on your government support throughout the review and approval process in New York. Now I would like to turn to document ESCAP/81/24, which provides an overview of ESCAP partnership and the outcomes of capacity development activities funded by extra budgetary contributions received in 2024. Delegates will note that ESCAP continued to foster dialogue and partnerships within the region and beyond. The result of various partnership outreach activities has been the further diversification of our partner landscape, and I'm pleased to emphasize that this includes new partners as well as returning partners. Overall, 24 new partnerships were brokered last year. Of note are the MOU with the Commonwealth Secretariat, the OECD, and JICA, as these represented new or significantly revamped partnerships. ESCAP has continued prioritizing comprehensive partner consultations for strategic preparation, as well as the effective implementation of such agreements. At the end of last year, we commemorated the 20th anniversary of the Indian Ocean tsunami, and on this occasion, development partners, first and foremost our host country, the government of Thailand, reiterated their commitment and extended their generous support to the ESCAP Multi-Donor Tsunami Trust Fund. Our biennial publication, Technical Cooperation Highlights, depicting results of our capacity development and technical assistance work, was published in 2024 with a focus precisely on the characteristics of our successful partnership. These partnerships have been indispensable for ESCAP to support member states in their progress towards sustainable development. Together with the Thailand International Cooperation Agency, or TICA, ESCAP organized the 6th Asia-Pacific Directors General Forum, which was chaired by the Vice President of the Turkish Coordination and Cooperation Agency. Over the years, the forum has become the go-to place for development agencies to discuss issues of relevance to them. At the 6th session, there were 2 associated events for emerging development partners and the measurement of South-South cooperation. Of note was the discussion of a capacity development agenda for new and emerging development partners. ESCAP is committed to supporting these development agencies and enhancing South-South cooperation for Asia and the Pacific with partners both within and outside the region. I would now like to present the 3 documents on the evaluation of our regional institutions, including the Asian and Pacific Center for the Development of Disaster Information Management, or APDIM, the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization, or CSAM, and the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, or SIAP. These documents are submitted pursuant to Resolution 71/1, in which the Commission decided to review the continued relevance and financial viability of each regional institution every 5 years. These documents contain the main conclusions and recommendations of the independent evaluations of the 3 ESCAP regional institutions. Allow me to briefly highlight key evaluation findings and the evaluation recommendations. First, the evaluation of the Asian Pacific Center for the Development of Disaster Information Management, document ESCAP/81/25, concluded that the center's interventions have elevated disaster information management as a critically important component of disaster risk reduction and the implementation of the 2030 Agenda, noting that the center functioned under significant constraints due to the COVID-19 pandemic and other challenges more specific to the center. The evaluation recommended that APDIM reviews its current strategic program of work to achieve short and medium-term impact, initiates dialogue with the host government on the administrative as well as financial arrangement for the center, and strengthen its strategic collaboration with divisions of the Secretariat as well as other regional institutions. Second, the evaluation of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization, document ESCAP/81/26, confirmed the relevance of the center's flagship initiatives, including the Asian and Pacific Network for Testing of Agricultural Machinery, the Regional Council of Agricultural Machinery Association in Asia Pacific, and the Regional Forum on Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization in Asia Pacific. CSAM's effectiveness was found to be satisfactory, as reflected in the high level of stakeholder satisfaction with the capacity development support provided by the center. The evaluation recommended CSAM continues its work on addressing the needs of smallholder farmers and women farmers operationalize its gender mainstreaming strategy, facilitate knowledge sharing and networking among partners institutions, and strengthen collaboration with relevant agencies and consultation with member states. And lastly, the evaluation of the Statistical Institute for Asian Pacific, document ESCAP/81/27, found that SIAP remained a very relevant and effective statistical training institute that was valued by the members as well as partner organizations. The training provided by the institute was highly respected by member states, and the institute was viewed as a trusted and credible partner. Demand for training offered by the institute was high among member states. The evaluation recommended that SIAP strengthen its strategic planning and priority setting, expand and institutionalize collaboration with the Statistics Division of the Secretariat, use existing platforms to help set regional and sub-regional as well as national training priorities, and foster a comprehensive approach to capacity development. The Commission may wish to endorse the recommendations contained in the 3 evaluation reports. I would like to express the Secretariat's deep appreciation to member states, donors, and development partners, many of whom are represented here, for their continued support to ESCAP. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Executive Secretary. Let us now consider Agenda Item 6A on the proposed program plan for 2026. I now open the floor for statements. I would like to remind all speakers to adhere to the time limit of 3 minutes. Longer statements can be sent to the Secretariat and will be circulated.
I think for the time being we have Russian Federation.
Okay. The first speaker is Russia.
Благодарю вас, госпожа председатель. Уважаемые коллеги, время идет, а мы ждем, когда все участники смогут воспользоваться переводом. Прошу это учесть. Уважаемые коллеги, на наш взгляд, предлагаемый план по программе на 2026 год носит в целом сбалансированный характер. И мы приветствуем последовательную работу секретариата, направленную на комплексную реализацию мандата ESCAP. Подчеркиваю, комплексную. Хотели бы обратить внимание на ряд моментов касательно содержания предлагаемого плана по программе. При выполнении положений плана считаем важным учет итогов предстоящих в этом году 4-й международной конференции по финансированию развития, 2-й всемирной встречи на высшем уровне в интересах социального развития, а также других проходящих под эгидой ООН мероприятий, затрагивающих вопросы устойчивого развития. Не возражаем против проведения секретариатом в 2026 году оценки поддержки государств, оценки подходов ESCAP к прикладному использованию искусственного интеллекта. В этой связи призываем придерживаться взвешенного подхода при работе в рамках данной чувствительной тематики. Учитывать, что ESCAP не является профильной площадкой для рассмотрения проблематики искусственного интеллекта. Отдельно отметим, что, на наш взгляд, дополнительного внимания в программе работы ESCAP заслуживает ряд наиболее проблемных целей устойчивого развития. Прежде всего, вопросы ответственного потребления и производства и сохранения морских экосистем. И еще несколько слов на перспективу. Подготовка планов по программе в условиях очередного кризиса ликвидности ООН. А на моей памяти это далеко не первый кризис. Так вот, это повод задуматься над тем, как и куда направляются усилия и средства ESCAP, financial asset. Давайте посмотрим, чтобы эти средства направлялись именно на те области, которые имеют ключевое значение для повышения социально-экономического уровня развития региона. Создание устойчивых моделей производства и потребления, укрепление транспортной связуемости, создание и поддержание здорового духа торгово-экономического сотрудничества, укрепление конструктивных основ торгового взаимодействия. Надо посмотреть на то, насколько адекватно отдельные тематические направления, я бы сказал так, неоправданно перенасыщаются сопредельными темами. Гендер, климат, так называемое благое управление, good governance и прочее. Мы не говорим, что эти темы не актуальны. Однако надо понимать, что они не должны диспропорционально раздувать конкретные тематические направления по сугубо экономическим вопросам. Они не должны выполнять роль условий для продвижения практического сотрудничества. Нормальное экономическое сотрудничество, и я на этом завершаю, нормальное экономическое сотрудничество должно строиться на научном и экономическом анализе и научных экономических подходах and economic approaches, а не идеологических догматах, если хотите. Спасибо.
Would any other delegation like to take the floor under this agenda item? I see none. This brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 6A. We shall now take up agenda item 6B on overview of partnerships, extra budgetary contributions, and capacity development. May I first invite the conference room officer to play a short video to highlight recent cooperation activities between the Secretariat and a number of development partners.
The Asia-Pacific region is home to over 2.2 billion urban residents facing a myriad of challenges. Rapid urbanization has led to inadequate housing, environmental degradation, and increased vulnerability to natural disasters. Addressing these complex and interconnected challenges requires collaboration. In 2024, ESCAP partnered with diverse stakeholders to advance sustainable development. These partnerships mobilize resources, share knowledge, and implement innovative solutions across sectors. ESCAP supports local governments to enhance decision-making and planning processes. Through the Mayor's Academy, ESCAP equips local leaders with the knowledge and tools for sustainable urban development. The Urban Act program enhances urban planning and climate governance, enabling cities to access climate finance and implement sustainable practices. Voluntary local reviews empower cities to assess SDG progress and foster informed decision-making. ESCAP builds capacity of local institutions for data-driven decision-making and management, ensuring effective, evidence-based SDG implementation and monitoring. Through technical cooperation, ESCAP facilitates the development of innovative solutions. To support low-carbon cities, ESCAP promotes electric mobility and clean cooking technologies, mitigating greenhouse gas emissions. It also provides technical assistance and guidance to integrate energy efficiency into national and municipal policies, ensuring cities remain livable and resilient to rising temperatures. By supporting green and sustainability bonds, ESCAP helps cities access the capital they need to thrive. ESCAP promotes inclusive and adaptive social protection systems to address population aging, climate change, and digital transformation, encouraging policies to ensure no one is left behind as cities transform towards a carbon-neutral future. ESCAP supports governments in making civil registration and vital statistic systems more accessible and universal. Last year, ESCAP signed key agreements with partners, including the Japan International Cooperation Agency, the Commonwealth Secretariat, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and the World Meteorological Organization to advance air quality management, disability inclusion, disaster risk reduction and management, South-South and triangular cooperation, connectivity, and economic development. Strengthening partnerships fosters innovation, resilience, and inclusive growth, unlocking new opportunities for a sustainable Asia-Pacific future.
I now open the floor for country interventions.
China. The first speaker is China.
The first speaker is China, please.
谢谢主席。2025年，中国将继续向中国 ESCAP 合作基金、联合国可持续农机中心等附属机构及有关专业领域捐款，具体金额正在审批中。当前，中国与亚太各国一样，也面临经济增长压力和财政紧张。尽管面对各种困难，中国作为 ESCAP 主要捐款国和持久贡献方，继续保持向 ESCAP 捐款水平，充分体现中方对 ESCAP 一如既往的支持，对促进亚太可持续发展合作的诚意。期待 ESCAP 秘书处及相关附属机构善用捐款，加强项目管理，提高资金效率，产出务实成果，造福地区人民，为促进亚太可持续发展和经济增长继续做出贡献。谢谢。
Thank you, China, for your statement. It has been taken note by the Secretariat and will be reflected in the report in the appropriate places. May I now invite the delegation of Republic of Korea to be followed by India.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished delegate. On behalf of the government of the Republic of Korea, I'm pleased to announce the Republic of Korea's contribution to the ESCAP program for work and regional institution for the year 2025. The total contribution will be $3.6 million. As the host government of the ESCAP Sub-Regional Office for East and Northeast Asia and the Asian and Pacific Training Center for ICT for Development APCICT in Incheon, Republic of Korea. We pledge the following contribution. 1.14 million US dollars in support of the Sub-Regional Office for East Asia, East and Northeast Asia. 1.49 million US dollars to the Asian and Pacific Training Center for ICT for Development. 75,000 US dollars for other regional institutions, including APCTT, SISEM, and SIAP. 930,000 US dollars to ESCAP Technical Cooperation Trust Funds and Project. Madam Chair, the Republic of Korea reaffirmed its commitment to inclusive and sustainable development and regional cooperation through its unwavering support to ESCAP's work. We recognize the importance of technical assistance and capacity development programs that enhance the technical and institutional capacity of the member, and we are proud to contribute to the effective implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in the region. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Republic of Korea, for your statement. It has been taken note by the Secretariat and will be reflected in the report. May I now invite India to be followed by the United Kingdom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. India recognizes the important role of ESCAP and its regional institutions play in assisting and capacity building member states to achieve the 2030 Agenda. India reaffirms its commitment to regional cooperation in tackling shared challenges across the Asia-Pacific region to realize SDGs. In alignment with this commitment, we are pleased to announce that in 2025, India pledges to contribute US $79,000 to South and Southwest Asia Sub-Regional Office of ESCAP at New Delhi, US $870,000 to Asian and Pacific Center for Transfer of Technology, US $20,000 to Asian and Pacific Training Center for Information and Communication Technology for Development, US $25,000 to Statistical Institute of Asia and the Pacific. I am also pleased to announce that India will make a financial contribution of US $500,000 to the Trust Fund for Tsunami Disaster Preparedness and Climate Preparedness as a one-time grant. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, India, for your statement. May I now invite the United Kingdom to make a statement?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The United Kingdom is pleased to collaborate with ESCAP and work with partners in the Asia-Pacific region towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Some of these announcements are captured in Annex 1 as the disbursement began at the end of 2024. So this includes £2.1 million announced last December for the Trade, Investment and Innovation Division, which is around $2.8 million US. And this is for a project presented on during a side event this past Monday called the ASEAN Green Investment Catalyst Initiative, which supports the ASEAN Secretariat and ASEAN member states in their ambitious climate goals with the implementation of the recently adopted ASEAN Regional Investment Promotion Action Plan. The initiative focuses specifically on channeling foreign direct investment into strategic green sectors crucial for ASEAN's transition to a low-carbon economy. We also made a £1 million announcement in February for a 2-year project with the Transport Division. This project looks to strengthen transport policies and workforce development for just inclusive transition to electric mobility in Bangkok as part of ESCAP's wider regional low-carbon mobility work. We reaffirm our commitment to the multilateral system and to this region and greatly appreciate our collaboration with ESCAP and with ESCAP members and associate members. Thank you.
Thank you, United Kingdom, for your statement. May I now invite Japan for a statement? Japan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We welcome the information in conference document ESCAP/81/24 and encourage also disclosure on the project under section 35 and 23 as to allow for better coordination and resource mobilization from all sources for voluntary contributions. More information enables greater accountability and more resource contributions from wider array of sources. And allow me, despite the increasing needs in statistical training by member states associated with the growing demand to track progress on the SDGs. The Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, SHIAP, has responded well by providing necessary measures and training resources. We would like to express our appreciation to SHIAP Secretariat for its tireless efforts in that regard. Allow me to make a statement with regard to the work plan of SHIAP for the 2025 fiscal year. As a host government, Japan is ready to provide contributions both in cash and in kind for SHIAP in accordance with its agreement and annual budgetary appropriations. In order to respond to statistical training needs in the region, including issues related to the SDG indicators, considering the importance of the role of SHIAP as a statistical training institution for the duration of 1 year from April 2025 through March 2026, the government of Japan intends to make a cash contribution $1,828,161. The government of Japan also intends to make in-kind contributions equivalent to $929,527, bringing the total amount of contributions to about $2,800,000. Furthermore, as part of its technical cooperation program, the government of Japan intends to offer fellowships for participation in a 3-month training course through the Japan International Cooperation Agency. It is our expectation that contributions to SHIAP, including Japan's contribution, will be used effectively and efficiently for the development of statistical human resources in each country. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Japan. The Secretariat has taken note of your statement. Would any other delegation like to take the floor on this agenda item? I see none. So this brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 6B. I would like to thank all delegations for their pledges. These valuable contributions will help the ESCAP Secretariat and its regional institutions implement their mandate and provide assistance to members and associate members of the Commission. We shall now proceed to agenda item 6C on the evaluation of the Asia and Pacific Center for the Development of Disaster Information Management. I now open the floor for statements. The first speaker is Iran. Iran, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairperson. I'm very glad to see you chairing this important committee at this juncture. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First, I would like to seize this opportunity to thank the ESCAP Secretariat for supporting the app team and Madam, pronunciation of the name so far difficult for me, I apologize, for conducting and presenting the evaluation report on app team. The evaluation report contains pertinent conclusions and recommendations for enhancing the result-oriented relevance, subsidiary and efficiency of the Optim Center. During its first years of operation, the center has successfully established itself as a relevant and effective entity with a mandate and the potential to fill in some critical gaps that exist in the disaster risk reduction institutional setting, responding to disaster information management needs of member states and key stakeholders. My delegation support actions to address the recommendation of the report. Developing resilient annual or biannual program of work focused on achieving short and medium-term impacts with clear progress indicators are very important in enhancing the efficiency and visibility of the center. The program-based budgeting will enhance the credibility, transparency, and resource mobilization of the OP team. Similarly, strengthening strategic collaboration between divisions of the Secretariat, other regional institutions and OP team, as well as developing a business model for resource mobilization is further enhanced results orientation and impact of the center. We agree with the findings of the report on the need to promote the human resources of the OP team, adjust staffing structure and program delivery utilizing various modalities for securing the experience of professionals from member states, including the host country. According to OP team's arrangements on administrative and financial, the center should use skilled national experts in the form of non-reimbursement loan. My delegation firmly recommends the center to collaborate and cooperate with national and regional institutions and all related UN agencies that are active on disaster management matters to reach more valuable achievement in these activities. Madam Chairperson, despite the challenges posed by unilateral, illegal, coercive measures toward my country, the Islamic Republic of Iran, as the host country, has extended all its support to enhance efficiency and effectiveness of the OP team. The resources provided were beyond the absorbent capacity of the center. According to the financial reports of the center, the annual fund balance of the center in 2023 and 2024 has been more than 2.66 and 2.5 million US dollars, respectively, while the annual expenditures have been around 900,000 US dollars. This indicates that the center needs to initiate appropriate program and projects to absorb contributions. Program-based financing and alignment between the contributions and activities will ensure enhanced efficiency and credibility of the center. The Iranian Plan and Budget Organization, known as PBO, has been appointed as the focal point of OP team since the establishment of the center, and there was no change in the institutional focal point as mentioned in the report. The PBO will continue the excellent cooperation with the OP team. Before concluding, Madam Chairperson, I wish to ensure full support of the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran to the OP team and reiterate its commitment to provide all necessary assistance to enhance efficiency and effectiveness of the center. I request that the Secretariat take into consideration this statement in all of relevant topics being under discussion in this session. I thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, Iran, for your statement. Would any other delegation like to take the floor on this agenda item? I see none. So this brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 6C. We shall now take up agenda item 6D. Oh, sorry. Yes, China, please.
谢谢主席，我们想对 APDEM 的工作做一些评价。在推动风险数据治理和政策制定、跨境管理以及利用灾害信息、服务发展规划等方面 ，APDEM 通过系列的干预措施，将灾害信息管理融入到减少灾害风险和2030年可持续发展议程的实施当中，对接成员国和主要利益攸关方灾害信息管理需求。APDEM 代表 ESCAP 秘书处担任联合国防治沙尘暴联盟共同主席，为跨境灾害信息管理工作和区域合作做出了积极贡献。 中方对 APDIM 的工作表示肯定。中方注意到 APDIM 在发展过程中也面临诸多挑战，如新冠疫情的冲击，加上员工短缺、资金捐助不稳定等问题，给中心的运作带来了困难。中方相信 APDIM 将积极应对。作为自然灾害多发国家，中国始终高度重视灾害防治和应急管理工作，重视 ESCAP 框架下的国际防灾减灾合作，持续通过中国 ESCAP 合作基金等支持 ESCAP 开展区域减灾能力建设。中方愿与 APDIM 中方愿与 APDIM 深化合作，为亚太地区的灾害信息管理工作贡献力量。谢谢主席。
Thank you, China, for your statement. Would any other delegation like to take the floor on this agenda item? No? I see none. This brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 6C. We shall now take up agenda item 6D on the evaluation of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization. I now open the floor for statements. China, would you like to? Okay. No?
Maybe you can repeat. This is 6D?
Yes, 6D.
Evaluation of...
Any delegation that wants to take the floor on agenda item 6D on the evaluation of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization? I see none. This brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 6D. We shall now take up agenda item 6E on the evaluation of the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific. I now open the floor for statements. Okay. May I invite Japan to make a statement, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Regarding the findings of the evaluation of Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, SHARE, we believe that they appropriately assesses the current situation in which SHARE has responded to increased training needs of various countries through the provision of appropriate training conducted by its professional staff, and this has resulted in the establishment of various kinds of partnerships, which in turn have generated further need for training from SHARE. On the other hand, we would like to point out some problems with the evaluation process. One of the objectives of the evaluation was that its recommendations be applied to the formulation of the next SHARE long-term work plan. However, the schedule of the evaluation process was not aligned with that of the formulation of the next SHARE strategic plan, focusing on 2025 to 2029. When the evaluation process commenced, the strategic plan had already been discussed and shaped by the Friends of SHARE Group for review by the Governing Council of SHARE. As a result, the Friends of SHARE Group had no opportunity to discuss the results of the evaluation before the Governing Council session. Furthermore, the detailed recommendations of the evaluation were shared with the member countries through the SHARE website just 6 days before the Governing Council session, even though documents are to be officially shared with the Governing Council members 6 weeks before the session. Therefore, the Governing Council members did not have sufficient time to review the report or recommendations and to conduct internal consultations. For the next evaluation, we request that the schedule of the evaluation be planned in a way that follows of Friends of Chair Group to adequately review the evaluation results when considering the draft strategic plan. As a governing council member and the host government of SHIAP, Japan endorses the Secretariat's response to the recommendations of the evaluation of SHIAP in the document ESCAP/81/27. The Secretariat's response accurately reflects the discussions and decisions made during the 20th session of the Governing Council of SHIAP. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Japan, for your statement. May I now invite China for a statement? Thank you.
谢谢主席。作为统计培训机构，在满足 ESCAP 成员国国家统计系统培训需求方面 ，CEAP 采取了相应的行动。尤其在疫情期间，通过电子学习方式维持培训的开展，保证了培训工作的连贯性。与其他机构在性别统计和灾害统计数据编制等方面的合作，也为相关领域提供了数据支持。中方对此给予充分肯定。CEAP 在发展过程中也面临着一些挑战，比如亚太地区地域广阔，统计培训需求差异大，而 CEAP 资源相对有限，这些都需要 CEAP 积极采取行动，予以有效应对。中国政府高度重视统计工作，积极参与 ESCAP 框架下的国际统计合作，通过中国 ESCAP 合作基金以及与 CEAP 的合作，持续支持区域统计能力建设项目。展望未来，中方愿继续与 ESCAP 及其区域机构深化合作，携手共进，为亚太地区的统计能力提升和可持续发展贡献更多的智慧和力量。谢谢。
Thank you, China, for your statement. Would any other delegation like to take the floor on agenda item 6E? I see none. This brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 6E. We shall now take up agenda item 7 on the midpoint review of the conference structure of the Commission. Under this agenda item, we are considering the document ESCAP/81/28 on the midpoint review of the conference structure of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. May I invite Mrs. Guamaral Altancherel, Counselor and Deputy Permanent Representative of Mongolia, to ESCAP as Vice Chair of the informal consultations on the midpoint review of the conference structure of the Commission, to provide a statement on the outcomes of these informal consultations. The floor is yours, Mrs. Altancherel.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I'm honored to present to you today the outcomes of the informal consultations on the midpoint review of the conference structure of the Commission, which I had the honor to chair along with His Excellency Mr. Dan Bahadur Ali, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative of Nepal to ESCAP, who acted as chair of these consultations. Pursuant to Resolution 78/2, the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific decided to review its conference structure and its 83rd session in 2027, with a midpoint review at its 81st session in 2025, and requested the Executive Secretary to submit a report in each instance with a focus on the program areas of the Commission, which will serve as a basis for the review. Additionally, in Resolution 80/4, the Commission decided to review the working methods of the committees and other bodies subsidiary to the Commission in the context of the midpoint review of the conference structure of the Commission, to be conducted at its 81st session. In this connection, 4 informal consultations among members and associate members were held between September 2024 and January 2025. The objectives of these consultations were to collect views on the midpoint review of the conference structure of the Commission and to come to a common understanding on whether any updates to the conference structure were required, and if so, what they should be. Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, as the Vice Chair of the informal consultations on the midpoint review of the conference structure of the Commission, it is my honor to report to the outcomes of these consultations as follows. In general, the representatives agreed that the discussions on the midpoint review of the conference structure should focus on the request contained in Resolution 78/2, and that representatives should bear in mind that the review of the conference structure would take place in 2027. Additionally, representatives underscored the importance of having enough time to consider draft recommendations and decisions proposed for adoption, including enough time to consult with capitals. Suggestions were also made to circulate any draft recommendations or decisions proposed by member states prior to the session to allow sufficient time for representatives to review them and to consult with colleagues in capitals. In that regard, representatives agreed that proposals should be submitted in advance of the session, as already provided for in the current conference structure for the consideration of draft resolutions. The consultations further clarified the working methods of the committees subsidiary to the Commission, and the decision was proposed encouraging members of the Commission intending to submit draft recommendations and decisions to be considered by its subsidiary bodies to submit them to the Executive Secretary at least 1 month prior to the commencement of the session, in order to allow sufficient time for review by the members and associate members of the Commission. Finally, Chair, it was proposed to rename the Special Body on Least Developed, Landlocked Developing and Small Island Developing States as the Special Body on Least Developed Countries, Landlocked Developing Countries, and Small Island Developing States, in line with the terminology used across the United Nations system. I look forward to comments from the meeting, and I would be pleased to answer any questions there may be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Altanjanel, for your statement. I now open the floor for statements. Would any delegation like to take the floor on agenda item 7? I see none. So it brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 7. We shall now take up agenda item 8 on the activities of the Advisory Committee of Permanent Representatives and other representatives designated by members of the Commission. Under this agenda item, we are considering document ESCAP/81/29 entitled Report of the Advisory Committee of Permanent Representatives and other representatives designated by members of the Commission. I would like to invite Ms. Seong Likhena, alternate Deputy Permanent Representative of Cambodia to ESCAP, to present the report of the ACPR to the Commission on behalf of the Rapporteur of the Advisory Committee. His Excellency, Mr. Hun Saron, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative of Cambodia to ESCAP, who could not join us due to last-minute unforeseen circumstances. Ms. Seong Likhena, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Excellency, distinguished delegate. On behalf of the rapporteur of the Advisory Committee, it is my great honor and privilege to introduce to you today the report of the Advisory Committee of Permanent Representative and other representatives designated by members of the Commission on its activities in the last session of the Commission in April 2024 until February of this year. As you know, the Commission in its Resolution 78/2 had entrusted the Advisory Committee with several functions, including strengthening close cooperation and consultation between Member States and the Secretariat, serving as the deliberative forum for substantive exchange of views and providing guidance on the formulation of the ESCAP agenda, as well as advising the Executive Secretary on the programs of work and preparation for the Commission and its subsidiary committees. In the 11 term since the last session of the Commission, the committee has done just that. The Advisory Committee held 6 regular sessions during the past year. In addition, the Advisory Committee convened its informal working group on draft resolution, which was chaired by His Excellency Mr. Fayaz Musid Qasir, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Bangladesh to Thailand, and Permanent Representative to ESCAP, and Ms. Katalia Patomros, Deputy Director General and Deputy Permanent Representative of Thailand to ESCAP, to negotiate the draft resolution and decision before their submission to the session of the Commission for formal adoption. Madam Chair, allow me to highlight a few key activities of the Advisory Committee during the period under review, from document ESCAP/21/28-29 plus placed before you. The Advisory Committee reviewed the outcome of the 80th session of the Commission and provided advice and guidance on the implementation of the resolutions adopted at that session. The Advisory Committee reviewed the preparation made by the Secretariat for the current 81st session of the Commission. Members of the Advisory Committee was informed of and reviewed the preparation of and outcomes of a broad range of meetings convened by ESCAP in several sectoral streams, including digital inclusion and transformation, social development, environment and development, transport, gender and women empowerment, statistics, financing for development. Furthermore, the Advisory Committee reviewed the preparation for meetings on migration, trade and investment, and civil registration and vital statistics, as well as the Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development. The Advisory Committee was also informed of the outcomes of the sessions of the governing councils of the regional institution of ESCAP and the governing council of the United Nations Special Program for the Economic of Central Asia. Throughout the year, the Executive Secretary regularly informed the Advisory Committee of activity related to priority issues of the United Nations of ESCAP and outcomes of her participation and engagement in major meetings, cooperation between Member States and the Secretariat, and administrative and program matters concerning ESCAP. Regular updates on global intergovernmental processes and meetings of the United Nations Development System were also regularly provided to the Advisory Committee. Madam Chair, Excellency, distinguished delegate, to sum up, the Advisory Committee provided advice and guidance to the Secretariat in the past year, while remaining conscious of the importance of monitoring the implementation of Commission resolution and improving coordination among all relevant stakeholders, pursuing the economic, social, and environmental agenda of ESCAP. On behalf of the rapporteur of the ACPO, it is my great honor and privilege to hereby submit for consideration by the Commission the report of the Advisory Committee of Permanent Representatives and other representatives designated by members of the Commission. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Swong Likhana, for your statement. I would now open the floor for delegate statements on Agenda Item 8.
Okay. followed by China.
Yes, Japan to be followed by China, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We thank the ACPR and we thank the Secretariat for its report and the briefings provided during the intersession. These ACPR sessions are crucial for preparing delegations, particularly in engaging our capitals. We also commend the Secretariat for enabling online participation, especially for member states such as small island development states in remote locations. However, we highlight two areas of improvement. First is the meeting calendars. Even on a provisional basis, it would be appreciated if meeting schedules, including key details such as prospective dates, resolution basis, and budget type, be provided even on a provisional basis by December of the prior year to facilitate travel and participation planning by member states. Second, avoiding schedule conflicts. We would like to have ensured key meetings such as committees are arranged to prevent overlaps or closely timed sessions, which hinder effective participation. We remain concerned about recurring scheduling and arrangement issues, particularly linked to the ICT division. We strongly encourage the Secretariat to take these concerns seriously and to use the ACPR as a platform to gather input and ensure meeting or committee arrangements foster effective participation and engagement by member states. This will strengthen collaboration and enhance the outcomes for our collective efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Japan, for your statement. China, you have the floor.
主席，中方感谢报告员代表常驻代表咨询委员会向年会所做的报告。过去1年 ，ACPR 定期举行会议，听取了直密女士关于 ESCAP 秘书处有关工作的通报。就 ESCAP 重要会议筹备情况和会议成果、ESCAP 年度会议安排和方案计划等重要问题进行了沟通协调。 积极推动有关决议和区域行动计划落实。中方高度肯定直密女士以及秘书处对 ACPR 工作的支持，对 ACPR 成员建设性工作表示赞赏。中方期待与各方共同努力，推动 ACPR 进一步发挥作用，成为各成员与秘书处之间加强沟通协作的有效平台，推动 ESCAP 积极履行授权。 落实好各领域工作，为促进亚太可持续发展做出更大的贡献。谢谢主席。
Thank you, China, for your statement. Would any other delegation want to make a statement on agenda item 8? Yes, Iran, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairperson. This is a very important issue, taking care of the work and effective functioning of the ACPR. While I am appreciating the presenting of the report from the Secretariat and the work, very excellent work has been done by the ACPR. As a permanent representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I had the privilege only twice participating in the ACPR so far. Therefore, as it has been addressed by distinguished colleagues regarding the importance of this important body of the ESCAP, I think it requires, and I encourage all permanent representatives to be more active in the work of the ACPR. It is very necessary, and it is considered one of the high-ranking bodies of the ESCAP so far as my experience is concerned in other international organizations. This body should be taken into consideration, the importance work as it is doing. Therefore, I encourage, my delegation encourages other distinguished permanent representatives to actively participate in the work of the ACPR. Through our participation, maybe we would be able to make the level up to the ACPR for its work. Another point, as my experience of the ACPR twice participation is that that is my personal view so far, is not the position of my delegation in accordance with my experience. So far, the work of the ACPR should be more transparent for the delegations, as rightly pointed out by the distinguished delegation of Japan. Therefore, any kind of conduct of the ACPR should be more transparent to give predictability to the, especially to the permanent representatives on the basis of the agenda they will actively participate for the future work of the ACPR. One of the other issues that I believe personally should be discussed in the ACPR is the effective functioning, which was also addressed by other delegations. Therefore, I think one of the issues maybe in the agenda of the ACPR is that how the permanent representatives should work to make more ACPR visible, as well as more transparent and effective functioning. I thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, Iran, for your statement. Would any other delegation like to take the floor? As I see none, I conclude discussion on agenda item 8. We now move on to consider agenda item 9, dates, venue, and theme topic for the 82nd session of the Commission 2026. Under this agenda item, the Commission is considering document ESCAP/81/30. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Lorenzo Satunci, Secretary of the Commission, to deliver an introductory statement.
Thank you, Chair, and very good morning to all distinguished delegates. The document you have before you, ESCAP/81/30, contains information concerning the proposed dates, venue for the 82nd Commission session in 2026, as well as 3 proposals from the Secretariat for its theme. As regards the venue, I am pleased to remind all delegates that subsequent to the issuance of the said document, on 19 March 2025, the Secretariat has received a written communication from the delegation of Azerbaijan expressing its readiness to host the 82nd Commission session in Baku. This was also announced by the delegation of Azerbaijan at the informal working group on draft resolutions on 25th of March 2025. In the subsequent deliberations, member states welcomed the generous offer of the government of Azerbaijan and agreed to host the 82nd session of the Commission in Baku. Therefore, it is recommended that the 82nd session of the Commission be held from 20 to 24th of April 2026 in Baku. With regards to the theme for the 82nd session of the Commission, after deliberation among member states within the informal working group on draft resolutions, member states have decided that the 82nd session of the Commission be guided by the theme "Leaving No One Behind, Advancing a Society for All Ages in Asia and the Pacific." The Commission is therefore requested to confirm the recommendations for the proposed dates, venue, and theme for the 82nd session as contained in draft decision 29 in document ESCAP/81/L2. We would like to remind all delegates that the draft decisions were circulated to all member states under silence procedure. No objections were raised. The decisions, together with the resolutions, will be taken this afternoon during the adoption of the report. But I just wanted to report a little bit on the discussions, because obviously the document of the Secretariat was prepared well in advance, given it had to be circulated 6 weeks in advance. So this document was prepared in January. And of course, it has been superseded by the discussions of the informal working group. So I just wanted to clarify that. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Satunci. Now I open the floor for statements under agenda item 9. Would anyone like to take the floor on agenda item 9? I see no further request to speak. I conclude discussion on agenda item 9. Okay, sorry. Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. During the discussions of the informal working group on the draft resolutions, My delegation and several others really welcomed Azerbaijan hosting the next commission, and conscious this comes after a hiatus of about 15 years since another country has hosted the ESCAP commission. We had raised, and I think this had been raised by others, the issue of transportation, particularly for Pacific Island states where the location is quite different and a little bit further away from Bangkok. So we would just like to flag that again at the Commission, that we do hope that we can still have as strong a participation as we've had in Bangkok in Azerbaijan. Thank you.
Thank you, United Kingdom, for your statement. Any other delegation interested in making a statement under agenda item 9?
I can also intervene. Just I want to say something to follow up.
Yes, Mr. Santucci, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Chair. Please allow me just to respond in a way to the statement made by the distinguished delegate of the United Kingdom, just to inform delegates that based on ESCAP resolutions, ESCAP has a Pacific Trust Fund, which it uses to support the participation of Pacific Islands. This is based on a Commission resolution back in the 80s that recognized the special challenges of Pacific member states to be able to effectively participate in Commission sessions due to their remoteness. And so we have been able to support, I think, Pacific delegates to come to the Commission. Obviously, we would welcome additional funds. Any member states can contribute to the Pacific Trust Fund. And certainly we would welcome additional voluntary contributions to the Pacific Trust Fund to enable us to keep replenishing it and to be able to provide the level of support to Pacific delegates we've joined in the past. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Santucci. Any delegation interested in making a statement under this agenda item? I see no further requests to speak, so I conclude discussion on agenda item 9. We shall now proceed to consider agenda item 10, other matters. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, it is my pleasure to report on behalf of the Bureau on the status of credentials of representatives of members to the 81st session of the Commission in accordance with Rule 12 of the Rules of Procedure of the Commission. The Chair and the Vice Chair of the 81st Commission session examined the credentials of representatives of 43 member states submitted in accordance with Rule 11 of the Rules of Procedures of the Commission and found them to be in order. The Bureau decided to defer any action on the credentials pertaining to the representatives of Myanmar at the 81st Commission session, pending a decision by the General Assembly on the representation of Myanmar and in line with the General Assembly's Resolution 3965 of 14 December 1950, acknowledging the report of the Credentials Committee of the General Assembly at its 79th session. May I take it that it is the wish of the Commission to take note of the report of the Chair and Vice Chairs? I see no objection, so it is so decided. I now turn to the results of the elections to the governing councils. I first turn to the results of the elections to Governing Council of the Asia and Pacific Training Center for Information and Communication Technology for Development. In addition to the host country, the Republic of Korea, the following members have been elected as members of the Governing Council of the Asian and Pacific Training Center for Information and Communication Technology for Development for the term 2025-2028, Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Kazakhstan, Philippines, the Russian Federation, Thailand, and Uzbekistan. I now turn to the results of the election to the Governing Council of the Asian and Pacific Center for the Development of Disaster Information Management. In addition to the host country, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the following members and associate members have been elected as members of the Governing Council of the Asian and Pacific Center for the Development of Disaster Information Management for the term 2025-2028: Bangladesh, India, Kazakhstan, Macau, China, Maldives, Mongolia, Pakistan, and Turkey. I now turn to the results of the election to the Governing Council of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization. In addition to the host country, China, the following members have been elected as members of the Governing Council of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization for the term 2025-2028: India, Malaysia, Mongolia, Philippines, Republic of Korea, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Vietnam. I now turn to the results of the election to the Governing Council of the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific. In addition to the host country, Japan, the following members have been elected as members of the Governing Council of the Statistical Institute for Asia and Pacific for the term 2025-2028: China, India, Malaysia, Mongolia, Pakistan, Philippines, Republic of Korea, and Thailand. The full results are also available on the website of the Advisory Committee of Permanent Representatives. Turning now to the other matters, would any delegation wish to take the floor on any pertinent matter that has not been covered during the course of our deliberations? This brings us to the conclusion of agenda item 10. We will now break and reconvene this afternoon at 2 p.m. sharp to finalize agenda item 11 on the adoption of the report of the Commission. Just before we proceed with the break, may I call on the Secretary of the Commission to make an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished delegates, the Secretariat wishes to remind each participant to please take a few minutes to complete the online evaluation survey that has been uploaded to the Commission website and has also been circulated through liaison officers. You would also see some signages with a QR code in front of the room, and we kindly ask each delegation to please complete the questionnaire. Your feedback will help us improve the quality of our services and the support that we provide to all delegations. We thank you in advance for your valuable feedback. I would also like to remind all delegates that all documents pertaining to agenda item 11, adoption of the report, which will be considered this afternoon at 14 hours, including the draft report, the draft resolutions, and the draft decisions, are all available on the password-protected website of the Advisory Committee of Permanent Representatives. Some of these documents have been already available for a few days. The draft report would be available as of 12 noon. On the ACPR website, and information on how to access the website has been communicated to the seat of governments of each delegation, but also through the liaison officers. If you require any assistance in accessing the ACPR website, please contact your liaison officer. Last but not least, Madam Chair, would also like to remind all delegates that during the lunch break there will be a number of side events. As shown here on the screen, all the events for today are also listed on the Commission website. The majority of these events are open to all participants, and most of these are held in a hybrid format, so participants can also join online. We look forward to your participation in these valuable events. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Secretariat. The meeting is now adjourned.